in a work-related function. At that same time, a black Jeep Compass, driven by Marco Barrios and occupied by his passenger, Andrea Castillo, were traveling northbound on East 9th Court, trying to access or cross East 49th Street. But there is a stop sign there. The stop sign pertains to them, the black Jeep Compass. It is apparent in this investigation thus far that the driver, Marco Barrios, violated this stop sign and proceeded through the intersection, placing himself in the path of the oncoming police car. We all know the results of this collision. One young girl, 21 years old, Andrea Castillo, clinging for her life, a tragedy with all of her life ahead of her, and one Hialeah police officer who is facing, at best case scenario, after 10 hours of surgery on Saturday, a very, very long-term disability. We also know from this case that the passengers or the occupants of the black Jeep Compass, Marco Barrios and Andrea Castillo, were not wearing their seatbelts. The results of this accident, the terrible outcome in this accident, the tragedy to our community, only serves to emphasize the importance of traffic safety. What we are dealing with here, we are treating like a stop sign accident. Nothing more, nothing less than that. Thus far, the investigation has not revealed any excessive speed, but the results are still pending. They are not final. There are many calculations and many things that have to be figured out to get exact numbers, and those will be part of the final investigative report, which, like I said, may be several weeks or months away. But these are things that we are right now saying with pretty much certainty that will not change in the accidents. The actual speed of the vehicles we will determine in the end, but as of right now, nothing has jumped up at us or has clearly made itself evident that speed was a factor by either vehicle. What was a factor in this vehicle is an unfortunate decision, careless driving. We need to emphasize that. The things that happen on our roadways every single day here, where people of all ages lose their lives or are disabled for life in some cases because of tragic accidents like this, and not wearing their seatbelts. Our hearts go out for Andrea Castillo. We couldn't even begin to understand what her family is going through at this time, and we regret this. Our hearts also go out for our officer, who is also a family man who has a long and painful recovery ahead of them. These are the answers that we can give right now to the public, and we have provided those answers exactly how I told you today, before this press conference, to the family, directly hand-delivered by us, to the family, in this case a representative of the family, because at this moment the family is busy with JMH tending to much more serious matters of their daughter's health.
Carl, can you talk to us about why the Andrea was not airlifted, as was the police officer?
Many issues were brought up, many speculations were done at the beginning of this investigation, and that is a very important, that's one of them, as far as the treatment and the method of transportation and things of that matter of the first aid treatment given to the patients on the scene. For that I have with me, and I will defer those questions to a representative of the fire department, their spokesman, Cesar Espinosa, and he can come up as soon as I'm done with your questions. He can come up and answer those emergency personnel related questions and decisions.
Thank you.
When you say the officer was in a job related function, can you describe what that means? Was he en route to?
Well, yeah, what I meant was he's on duty and he wasn't like at his, we don't think he was at his lunchtime or on his way to a bathroom break or anything like that, that he was actively on duty at the time of the accident. What exactly he was doing at that particular time will be part of the final investigation, if he was involved in any particular police action at the precise time of the accident. But we don't have any certain information of that thus far, and the officer, because of his condition, has not been able to provide a proper statement.
No.
Carl,
Sí, por favor, vamos a hacerlo en español ahora con usted antes de pasar con el...
Yes. As I can, and then we can come back and and we've got the fire chief also. Can we do that?
Okay.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
How do you guys know that a stop sign was run? If the cop can't speak, if the
That's a good question. We feel pretty certain that these, like I said before, these irrefutable facts that we have uncovered thus far are not going to change. If you go out to the scene physically, it's very simple. There is a right-of-way for vehicles traveling on 49th Street, which is a main street, and then there are stop signs for any streets that connect on 49th Street. You can see the stop sign. We also have witness testimony, and we have video surveillance from neighboring businesses that show this violation of what we call violation of the stop sign, where he improperly proceeded through the intersection. I'm sure, like every other accident, inadvertently doing this, but we all know the tragic results and catastrophic results of that decision.
Will that surveillance be shared?
The surveillance, yes. The question is, surveillance will be shared. Anything associated with this case, except medical details, which are protected under law, but any of the other aspects of the investigation, any video, any statements, official statements from witnesses, absolutely will be made available to everyone at the conclusion of this investigation.
Ok, ¿vamos a hablar en español?
Yes.
Por favor, un momentito.
Yes, sir.
Gracias.
Let's have the fire representative do his part very quickly in English, please.
But you're really hurting us also, because we have the same deadline.
Okay.
We'll get everybody out of here at the same time. Promise.
Okay.
Could you spell your first and last name first, please?
Captain Caesar, C-E-S-A-R, Espinosa, E-S-P-I-N-O-S-A. We do not want the informational tone of this conference to overshadow the tragedy that the family and friends of the patients have and are currently enduring. We are simply addressing the overwhelming request of information pertaining to this sensitive incident. The preliminary information that has been made available to us so far is that all patients on that scene were evaluated, treated, stabilized, and transported rapidly and to the appropriate facilities. All patients arrived at the trauma center within 30 minutes of the incident. I repeat, all patients arrived within 30 minutes of the incident. The mode of transportation to the hospital has been called into question as of late. Air rescue is a resource available to our fire department to transport patients who have traumatic injuries. Its use provides neither greater nor lesser quality of care for those patients, as compared to one that's being transported by one of our rescue units on the ground. The decision in choosing the mode of transportation is a fluid, dynamic, and it's also based on many factors. The assumption that the use of air rescue impacted patient outcome is not evident. It is with a heavy heart that we have to sit here today and deal with this information while the family is struggling to deal with their loss. We are family, and our family's prayers are with those family and friends. Not only the young lady who has passed, but the police officer and the driver of the other vehicle.
So are you saying the mode of transportation made no difference in this case? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying, when the information is complete and the report of all the findings is complete, I can assure you that the mode of transportation chosen for all the patients was appropriate, expeditious, and provided the highest quality of care that the fire department could provide.
So if somebody asks why was the officer transported by air and the more critically injured individual wasn't, what would you say?
I want to make very clear that the initial units on arrival triaged, that means they sorted out the number of patients and the degree of their severity of their injuries. Upon arrival of our first transport unit, they were assigned the patient that met the most critical need, and they were transported by the available vehicle at the time. Air Rescue transported the police officer because he met the highest degree of severity and injuries at the time they were triaged.
Was he conscious and alert at the time?
I do not have information as to his condition or the injuries that he actually sustained.
All that will be available, willing, it doesn't go against HIPAA regulations. So there is some personal information and health information that we are not allowed to give to the public.
Could you see where this looks bad, that one woman is dead, your officer, I believe, has been treated and released, he was transported by air?
Okay, just to be clear, and I believe Officer Zogby made it very clear that the officer is still in the hospital, and he just got out of surgery recently, within recent hours, so he has not been released. What I can see is where the public is not as informed as obviously we are of our protocols and the way we choose and treat our patients.
The quote from an attorney today was, and I will quote him exactly so you can respond, was, "It only stands to reason that there was some preferential treatment given." Do you agree with that?
We, unfortunately, are not dealing with simple reason here. We have to deal with the situation at hand. I can assure you that once all the facts come to light, that every patient on that scene was treated appropriately, expeditiously, and sent in a timely manner to the appropriate facility.
With no preference.
With zero preference.
Can we do it in Spanish, please?
Yeah, let's-
Por favor, vamos a hacerlo en español.
Gracias.